Hello. How is everyone doing? Welcome to probably the lowest volume social media time of the week, Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Hope everybody's doing well. I am just coming back from running a whole bunch of errands, and boy, is it hot outside. So I'm currently trying to cool down in my thankfully air-conditioned apartment. But I wanted to come in today and talk about signs from the universe. And I think we last night I talked about the pursuit of joy versus the escape from pain. And something really struck me yesterday when I was thinking about that or talking about that. And I have a move coming up. I'm going to be moving to Lewis, Delaware. So if you live in Lewis, Delaware and you want to be friends, or you have friends in Lewis, Delaware and you want to introduce them to me, hi, I'm Lauren, and I am going to be looking for friends in my new home. And when I went to Lewis, I went on a girls' weekend, and there were signs everywhere that like I belonged there. I felt like I was at home as soon as I drove into town. I saw a bench in front of a pond under a tree that just like felt like that's my place to sit. Everybody we met was just like friendly and was saying like, yeah, you should move here, which you don't hear a lot in a town. And I've known for a while that I didn't want to live where I live anymore. I live in Bethesda, Maryland. I live just outside of Washington, D.C. And I stayed here after college. I went to the University of Maryland and I stayed here after college and really love it here. And I have loved it here. But I live near downtown Bethesda, which used to be like a young, fun, hip town and is now like a dinner reservation kind of town with a Pottery Barn. And it used to be all like independent shops and independent restaurants. And there are some, local chains and things like that here now. And what I have noticed over the last several years was that I stopped taking advantage of living in this downtown area. I'm kind of a homebody. The pandemic happened. And so I've been trying to figure out like, where do I want to go next? And I've been sort of stuck in this escaping pain kind of way. Like I live in a 1-bedroom condo, which was perfect for me before the pandemic. Now that I moved to working from home during the pandemic while I was still in corporate and then fully working from home in owning my own business, welcome to my dining room, which is no longer a dining room. It is now an office. But now I also no longer have a dining room or a sit-in kitchen or anything. And so I've outgrown this place, and I've known for a while that I've outgrown this place. And I kept looking for like, what is the thing that's going to tell me what to do? Where's the sign? And my original intention was, I will take a little bit of time to figure out where I want to live. I'll sell this place and like rent a place 20, 30 minutes away and see what I like, see if I like Columbia, Maryland, or see if I want to move to Virginia but I was very small in my thinking about like living exactly basically here. And I've become more woo-woo over the last couple of years and have done a lot of work in connecting to myself, connecting to spirituality, connecting to like how I want things to feel more so than what I want to do. And I have always, I've always wanted to live in a place that felt very like Gilmore Girlsian, where it felt small town. There's like a strip of shops and restaurants and coffee and a gazebo in the middle of town and, little festivals and farmers markets and all of that kind of stuff around. And I didn't know where that existed except for like Vermont or Connecticut. I didn't really want to go north. And so I have felt a little bit directionless in terms of where I want to live. And I'm a homebody, so home is important to me, and feeling at home and feeling comfortable is important to me. I'm also a creature of habit. So when I moved into this condo now 16 years ago, my like big dream was to move into a 2-bedroom condo in this building. So I really like, once I find stuff I like, I tend to stick around. But I went to Lewis, Delaware, with my business coach and friend, Katie McManus, who also is in this 30 days in a row live challenge with me. So if you haven't seen one of my lives recently, I'm going live every day for 30 days. Today is day 9. Today is day 9 of 30. And so I started thinking about, what were the creature comforts that I wanted? And I want to live in a town where people are welcoming, where people are friendly, where I have like a bench near a pond under a tree to sit. And I found all of those things in Lewis. And as soon as I drove into town, I knew that that was where I wanted to live. Like as soon as I drove into town, I knew that that felt like home. And I haven't felt that, I think, in a long time, that a place like just actually felt like it belonged. I belonged to it. It belonged to me. And it made me think about signs. And I think like I am not always quick to listen to the lessons from the universe and the opportunities from the universe. And instead, I sort of see something and think about it for a moment and then sort of write it off, deny that it happened. It's not part of what I want to do, that kind of thing. And I'll talk myself out of it. And fear plays a really big part in that. And I see that too with people coming into realization that they want to change their careers, that they want to change how they approach what they're doing for work. And we get into, I think, this rut where we're used to doing the same thing all of the time. And so we keep doing that thing because it's what we know. It becomes familiar. And on tomorrow's live, I'm going to talk about comfort zones. I'm going to talk about what a comfort zone really is, like versus what we think it is. And I'm going to talk about how we discover when we're in a comfort zone in a happy way, and how we discover when we're in a comfort zone because that's what we're used to. And so, when I first hired a coach for myself, I'd been coaching already for like 15 years, and I just had never hired my own coach. And when I saw that I needed a coach, I was not thrilled about it, quite frankly, because I wasn't ready to want to count on somebody else to help me with my own stuff. Very independent. A lot of us high achievers are hyper independent. We are, we're often people pleasers for everybody but ourselves. We look at us last. We look at everybody else first and what their needs are. And when I realized that I might want a coach, I immediately talked myself out of it. And I thought, like, I help everybody else. I should just be able to fix my own stuff. And if I can't fix my own stuff, I'm not fixable. So I saw these signs from the universe that I could have a coach. It kept coming up in conversation. I had talked to a friend who had hired a coach and talked about how great it was. And I thought, when I talked to her, I thought, that sounds so good. And it's something I would never do for myself, because we're not trained to spend money on our own professional and personal development. We're trained that when we get sick, we go to the doctor. When we're young, we go to school. And then like, that's kind of it. Just leave it there. But I kept seeing signs that I needed something different, that there was different out there for me. The big sign from the universe that I got, and if you don't know me or haven't known me for at least a few years, you may not know, I broke both of my shoulders chasing a vacuum in my own home. Really dumb move on my part, but I ran after a Roomba vacuum that I thought was going for a lamp cord, and I slid in my socks on my wood floor and launched forward and reached out for a table I wasn't close enough to. Arms went overhead. I fell down and I broke both of my shoulders. And the joke from my friends was, oh, look who can't be a hand raiser. Because when that happened, I was just wrapping up working in my current job, plus interim managing the marketing team, plus managing a meeting planning team, plus managing the operations team, plus managing IT, plus managing blah, 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 blah. And I had just wrapped all of that up, and I was sort of thinking like, oh, I'm going to get bored here now. I was already working 80 to 100 hours a week. There was no getting bored. There was working more normal hours. And I didn't know how to do that. And every time there was a pause at work of like, who's going to think about this? How are we going to get this done? My hand went up and I said, I'll do it. And so while I don't think the universe threw me on the ground as a punishment for being a hand raiser, I think this accident happened and the sign from the universe was stop raising your hand. And when I went back to work with a promise to myself to no longer do that, I had no plan for it. I had no plan for not being a hand raiser. I had no plan for working fewer than 80 hours a week. I was originally released to work 2 hours a day because I had to work up my keyboard endurance with shoulders that were still healing. And I took that opportunity to push myself as hard as I could and try to do 3 hours and try to do 4 hours until I was back to working 80 hours a week. I basically had to be like hit in the face with needing a coach. And the way that it finally came to me was that I was deciding that I was going to get my certification, which I had never done. I was certified in, I had and currently have a couple of HR certifications. And in my HR training, I had gotten some coach training, but I'd never really pursued a specific coach certification. And so I had decided I wanted to do that, called on a coach that I knew to see, how she got her certification, how many hours it was, how much it cost, what company she went through, all of those kinds of, we do things logistically kind of ways. And while I was talking to her, I mentioned that my work life did not have the potential to change, that I was 80 hours a week. That's just how it was. There was nothing I could do about it. And she said, if you say so. And that was my final sign. That was my moment where I realized I have to do something different. I need to do something different. I hired her as my first coach. And she really served me in learning how to boundary set and learning how to think about what I wanted and learning that being self-serving is not a negative. And we are taught when we're young, and especially when we're girls, we are taught to defer to other people, to listen to other people, to be kind, to be nice, to serve other people, not to make trouble, not to stir things up. And so you get into the work world and you learn to listen to your bosses. And those of us who come into understanding that we get to disrupt are the ones who find our joy and find our success in new ways. Most of the people who come to work with me, who come to be clients with me, when they come in for the first time, they don't understand that. I didn't understand that, certainly. And I'd been coaching for years and I understood it for other people. I didn't understand it for myself. And I think that's what we do as people pleasers is we tell everybody like they can have what they want. Things can be however they want them to be. And, but not for me, right? I'm the exception. And so I challenge you to look for the signs, look for the universe looking out for you, look for the things that you want to see, not the things you think you should see. If I had not been open to hearing that coach say, things will stay the same if you say so, then I could have just skimmed over that and gone for my coach certification and continued to work 80 plus hours a week and just had another certification under my belt. I chose in that moment to hear her, and I chose to listen to her, and I chose to see it as a sign that I was ready for something different in my life. And it was really like a pretty amazing time for me to realize that I was ready for something different. And it was in that moment that I didn't talk myself out of it. And so that's what I want for you. If you're out there and you're watching this and this is resonating with you, if you have been thinking, I want to change my career, or I want to change my boundary setting, or I need to be a better delegator, or I hate the way that I'm leading, or I don't even know what's wrong. I just don't enjoy my career these days. I'm so tired and I'm burned out. That's your sign. When you keep feeling that over and over and you don't see an answer, the answer is you don't have to do it alone. The answer is you have the right and responsibility to yourself to figure out how you want things to be. Because the people that I see who wait until they retire to decide to be happy don't know how to be happy when they retire. So I say, look out for yourself now. Make choices that serve you now. Find happy now. Find joy now. And don't do it by yourself. And if you want to have a conversation about that, I'm here to help with that. I am a very low pressure conversation. I know that people have had experiences with coaches where they talk to them about working with them, and the coach says, like, I'm not going to let you get off of this call until you make a decision. That is not how I work. And if somebody's pressuring you to work with them so hard that you feel like you aren't allowed to get off a call with them until you've made a decision, I'm sorry, but that's the wrong coach for you. That's the wrong coach for everybody. I would love to have a conversation with you. If you are even thinking about having a coach and you just want to ask questions about what it's like to be coached and what it costs to be coached and how much of a time investment it is and how long it takes to make a change and all of that kind of stuff, set up a call with me. And you can DM me in whatever platform you're finding me on. You can find my information at fineasatrap.com. or on LinkedIn or on Facebook or Instagram. I am all over the place. I will be back tomorrow to talk about comfort zones, and I'll keep going for the next 21 days. Have an awesome night. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.